Looking for help for your food addiction and you don't know where to start? Welcome to the series, The Food Addiction Frontlines, where we uncover the expertise and services available for food addiction. I'm Dr. Vera Tarman, an addiction physician specializing in sugar and ultra-processed food addiction. In each 15-minute episode, we'll meet leading experts making a difference in this field. They'll share their journey, their training, and the unique services that they provide so that you can find the best treatment for yourself. Today, we speak with Daria Green. Welcome, Daria.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tarman. It's a pleasure to be here, and it's such an honor.
All right, thank you. So tell me, what inspired you to be specialized, to become interested in food addiction treatment?
I think it goes back to my story, but not only my personal story with struggles with food addiction, but my recovery story. I think when I first realized that there's actually a term for it and actually treatment for it, that it's medically supervised by many practitioners and doctors as well, then it became obvious that this is what I want to put my life into, researching and studying about it. So I went back to medical school to become an addictologist. So somebody who studies addiction, and to become a doctor to treat people and research food addiction further. So I think that my biggest also inspiration is to help people. I do believe that no one should struggle with these issues. And if they do, there's hope for it. And we are in the process of putting this on an international level for it to become an official medical term. So I think that we have so much to do, so much work to do.
Can you share your training and qualifications in food addiction?
So my first training that I got was classical nursing. I was studying to become a nurse, but never finished, never got a degree. So I proceeded with getting functional medicine training, and that was my foundation. And then I went to International Food Addiction Counseling and Treatment School, and I got my degree in February 2023. And since then, I was food addiction focused specifically.
What type of services that you provide for people who are struggling with food addiction?
I basically provide counseling, and it's mostly online work. I've got some intentions to practice locally. I'm based in Zurich, in Switzerland. So I had an intention to have a treatment group here set up in person. But then COVID came and just life came, and there was no sort of room for it in my life anymore. And as the more online practice grew, the better it became. So basically, it's an online coaching, ongoing support. And I do have like a group meeting once a month.
Do you provide a meal plan?
I don't usually focus on meal plans. Sometimes, rarely, I do it. So meal plan is not the centerpiece and not the focus of the therapy.
You promote a no sugar platform.
Yes. So it's definitely no flour, no sugar, no white stuff. And I do provide some of the trigger food lists, but not a strict food plan and not a measured, like strict food plan that everyone has to follow because it's so individual.
Is it a coaching program?
It's more like a individual therapy focused session. So it's a one-on-one, and my focus is individualizing. And that is a core part of it. So everyone comes with specific intentions, goals, and issues, and they all have different ways to achieve their goals.
Okay. And then you have the group therapy once a month.
Yes.
What would you consider to be your biggest strength as a food addiction professional?
I think my biggest strength is that I couple medical practice, if we can say so, with food addiction. I'm in the medical school for the moment to become a doctor in the future, to be able to practice medicine and prescribe treatments and medical treatments if necessary. But for now, I'm a part of a Zurich startup. We are health-focused telemedicine startup with holistic approach to health, and we have doctors on board. And sometimes, even though the focus of our startup and medical practice is not food addiction specifically, but people do come with such issues. And so far, over the course of last year, I had 3, even more, almost 5 people with food addiction problems who came to me. And I'm just one of the many coaches we have in practice. Coming back to the question about what sets me apart is that I think the foundation of how I practice and how I view food addiction is that it's just a symptom of many other problems alongside with the fact that it's a neurobiochemical disorder. So I like to start off with objective overlook of the system and body functions. We do the lab testings. I support people with co-occurring health conditions, specifically chronic disorders and some of the hormonal issues. And then we go on and treat food addiction afterwards, after the other nutrient deficits and other things have been settled and helped. So that what I think sets me apart is that my future medical degree will provide me an opportunity to practice medicine.
A woman who's menopausal and is struggling with weight gain and excessive overeating, you can address the menopausal issue and her eating issue as well. Or somebody who's diabetic, that you can monitor the diabetes along with the food addiction.
Yes, and I do have such people in practice.
Yeah.
And even diabetics with type 1 diabetes. Unfortunately, that has been an occurrence, and we found it accidentally.
One of the next questions is going to be about co-occurring issues. That's what you're describing right now. What about co-occurring issues like mood disorders?
So the biggest step for me is assessment. We do really need to focus on assessment and be more objective about what terminology we use for what disorder. So sometimes co-occurring disorders can be just a symptom of food addiction. And it's important to assess first and then deal with it on maybe even sometimes secondary or first basis. So it is all individual, and I just take my time to assess. And if there's a need to go and see a psychiatrist, then I can refer.
You really have that capacity to marry both the counseling and the medical aspect together. Does that mean you have to be in Switzerland to get that extra medical piece? I'm in Canada. If I wanted to access your services, could I do that even though you're in Switzerland?
Yeah, I think the limitations would be that the local insurance policies sometimes would not cover the outside prescriptions if there would be a need for a prescription. But there's no limitations for seeing me for coaching and therapy. The wonders of online work is that we can get together from whenever a person is located.
Okay. What's your opinion about medications like GLP-1s? I would imagine you'd know more about it.
Yes, I've been researching it, and I wrote theses on GLPs last semester on the potential of treatment of other addictions aside from food addiction, although they are designed not for food addiction specifically, but we all know the mechanism of how it works for food addiction, and therefore there is a gateway into studying them for other addiction treatments like alcohol and nicotine specifically. But I do have a strong opinion about using them for weight loss purposes, not only because of their long-term potential outcomes that are negative, but also because as soon as a person stops GLP-1 use, the cravings come back immediately, as soon as this day or the next day. And if we don't work on food addiction treatment, and addiction is just a core piece of this problem, and it's a disorder that doesn't differentiate about the outlets of addiction. It can be anything. It doesn't have to be food specifically. So if we don't address addiction and we don't treat it, The GLPs and GLP-1s unfortunately don't help.
All right. In terms of other avenues of support, do you involve the family?
So I haven't had so much family work. Somehow people come just for one-on-one coaching, but I had an instance that I had to support the whole family. And sometimes, and most of the time, it has to do with the kids. And so when parents come to me with children who need help, we have to address the whole family because the child has not reached the age where their limbic system is developed. So they don't have a locus of control themselves. So the parents have to do so much work for the child and so much support. And I've had these cases, and even the case with anorexia. That was the toughest case. And I don't really work with anorexia. It happened to be that at my practice in my Zurich startup, no one had the capacity to assess and to provide care and to help. So I just volunteered, even though that's my limitation. Anorexia is a very dangerous disorder that has to be treated professionally in the clinic. But we could help in ways that were miraculous. That was my biggest win.
Do you any challenges that you confront in your work?
I think the biggest challenge would be that people don't realize this work is not insurance covered. It's not covered by insurance, and it's not accessible to many. And those who seek care don't have the capacity to have it so often, to have sessions so often as they need, and they lack professional support. They might go to see some specialists who are covered, but not everyone are specialized in food addiction specifically. So we are working tirelessly to get this accepted by standard medical world and for it to become an official diagnosis. And therefore, people will have so much more support and ways to treat.
Back to you personally, what strategies do you use to maintain your own sobriety, sanity in this work, which can be quite demanding?
Yes, it's true that it's demanding and it's sometimes exhausting even, but I do work on my abstinence on pretty much everyday basis. I'm still recovering from day to day. I realize that this is a chronic disease, that sometimes I can, if life gets tough, I can have a setback and relapse. Knowing that, I practice my relapse prevention almost on a daily basis. And I just try to journal and pick up on my emotions and give space to it, give space for myself, and try to be as mindful as possible about my own limitations.
How can people learn more about you and your services?
So I do have a website. It's very easy. It's daria.green. And there's home information about what sets me apart, and people can learn more about and read about my work.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you about what you do that will showcase your work?
We can also say that I'm really unique in the ways that I work with Eastern European population. So far, there's nobody in our professional circle from this part of the world. So this can be beneficial for anyone who's searching for such a person.
Any last words of hope to leave the listener?
I want to give hope for everyone who's searching for answers and who's struggling with food addiction. I want to let everyone know that this is not their fault. This is my biggest message that I'm trying to transmit everywhere, that people are not guilty of what happens to them, that they cannot control their food intake. No matter what it is, sugar or processed foods, it doesn't matter, but it's not their fault. There are predisposing factors, and sometimes people are born with it. And so what it takes is a unique assessment that they need to get from food addiction professionals. And then there's hope, and recovery is possible at any age, actually. So this is my biggest message.
Thank you so much, Daria, for spending the time with us today.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Big sugar is the enemy, corrupting the minds of the teens, expelling you not to foresee. Your body's your temple, your mind is your key to a life tapped into happiness. Have it, don't dream it. If only you could see it. It's all in you and